Hi, welcome to this week's brief book review. The book we're looking at this week is called No Plan B by author Lee Child in association with his brother Andrew Child, and it's another Jack Reacher novel. This is Jack Reacher number 27, although I suppose technically you could say it's 28 because there was a series of Reacher short stories called No Middle Name. So another outing for Reacher, the nemesis of bad guys and wrong uns everywhere. So I suppose it's best to preface this review by saying that clearly I'm a fan, so there's a bit of inherent bias. I've read all the Reacher books, really enjoyed them, but like most Reacher fans, maybe I thought the last two where Andrew Child has contributed they've both been okay. They've been a reasonable read, but maybe not as good as some of the earlier books in the Reacher series. So what's this one about? Well, this one we find Reacher in Gerardsville, Colorado. He sees a woman at the corner of a road intersection. She ends up underneath a bus. Everybody thinks it's suicide. Reacher knows different because he sees somebody in the shadows has actually pushed the lady under a bus. Reacher contacts the local PD, local police department, gives him his side of the story, and soon finds out that the local police department have this as a suicide. Nothing to see here, case closed. Reacher, being Reacher, wants to know what's going on and very soon establishes that the lady in question worked at a correctional facility, Minerva Correctional Facility in Mississippi. So what she's doing in Colorado? Well, she was visiting her ex-boss, who was a former prison officer, and she'd found out there were some things going on at Minerva that weren't quite right. There were some accounting issues. This piques Reacher's interest, and along with a female companion, the ex-wife of the lady's former boss, sets upon a path of heading for Minerva, where it just so happens there's Minerva prides itself on reformation of prisoners, and there's going to be a prisoner released on the Friday of that week. So we have, in a way, a typical Reacher story where Reacher's on a quest to get from A to B to find out what's going on. Clearly, there are some dodgy activities going on at this correctional facility, and clearly the bad guys want to stop him getting there. So we have that typical Reacher tale where he's on a quest and he's up against bad guys trying to stop him in his tracks. We also have a couple of other stories in the book. We have the tale of a young man who's running away from home, and the tale of him and his adventures on a Greyhound bus. We have another tale of a legitimate businessman who has one legitimate business, but an entirely crooked business on the side, where he's effectively a professional arsonist. And this gentleman is also trying to find somebody who's wronged him. As usual, the three stories intertwine and end up with the conclusion at the correctional facility where the person is being released. Lots of twists in the tale. There are things going on at the prison, but they're not quite what you think, and some of the people aren't quite what you think. So all in all, a good Reacher tale. Really enjoyed it. As usual, the plots are good. There's some quite nice twists and turns in this story. It's easy to read. I'd give it 8 out of 10. Now, if you compare it to my previous comments about maybe the last couple of books haven't been quite up to the standard of the early Reacher books, I guess the jury's out. I found this one certainly better than the last Reacher book called Better Off Dead, where basically Reacher rocks up to a town, fights a couple of Albanian gangs, and that's it. This one was a much more complicated tale, lots more twists and turns in it, and I found it a much more enjoyable read. So maybe not as good as the original Reacher, some of the original Reacher stories, but once you get to 27, 28 books, there's always going to be difficulty keeping a very, very high standard. But as a standalone book, it's a good read. If you're a Reacher fan, you'll enjoy it. So as I said, I'd give it 8 out of 10. Looking forward to the next Reacher book, which will no doubt come out in October 2023. And that's it for today's brief book review. So good read, available at all good booksellers and probably bad ones as well. That's it for today. 10-10 till we do it again. Thanks for watching. Bye.